Hey everyone, welcome to My Rising Rose, where we connect with dragons and deities to expand our consciousness and unify ourselves with the cosmic family, and where we do that while remaining grounded and ordinary in our humanity. It's so easy for us to have some pretty out there spiritual experiences and start being like, wow, look at all this incredible stuff that exists here. It's so much more than I ever realized. And that's a wonderful and amazing thing, and it can also be quite a destabilizing and ungrounding thing as well. So it's important that we're able to expand into these higher planes, but also able to ground them in a very ordinary human life. So one of the things especially that we really need to do is to keep an eye on whether or not we're using these experiences to try and compensate for a sense of lack that we have within our humanity. So it can be quite tempting to take these experiences and start talking to people about them, or even in our own minds, just kind of overinflate ourselves so that we get to feel like we're a special and important person. Because most of us, well, I'm speaking for myself, I definitely went through experiences in childhood that made me feel like I was a less than important person. And that's still with me now, even with all of these spiritual experiences. So I can see the part of myself that would take these experiences that I've had and turn them into something big. Within my social circle here in Berlin, quite a few people know the work that I do, and sometimes I'll go to a party and someone who I've never met before will be like, oh, you're that dragon guy, and I can see the part of myself that's like wants to grab hold of that. And because I'm someone who has social anxiety, so going to parties is like one of the hardest. I enjoy it a lot, but it can also be really difficult for me. It's something that oftentimes I need to kind of almost make myself do because I know that it's good for me. Yet there's still fear there, especially when I first arrive and I kind of need a little bit of time to ground. So then if someone's coming up to me and being like, oh, you're the dragon guy, there's this part that could kind of grab hold of that. And be like, yeah, okay, I'm the dragon guy. That means I don't have to be afraid, I can kind of turn that into my identity and just overinflate myself, and in subtle ways, I do that. Like, I see myself doing that, and it's something that I remain conscious of and consciously try not to do. Sometimes I think I actually go too far the other way, and people will be asking me about it, and I am obviously uncomfortable, and I've had some conversations at parties recently where I just explain that. So I'll just be saying, I basically what I'm just telling you here. So basically just say that, and then then it's fine. But I've kind of heard about and seen other people using either the dragons or other beings in a way that I see as like really slimy, like using it to try and impress women, for example, or even worse, using it to try and chat up or manipulate women, like being like, oh, I'm this interesting, mysterious, like sexy spiritual dragon guy, and there's some really, really disgusting ways that these energies can be used, in my opinion. So that's just something we all need to kind of keep an eye on a little bit, right? We need to make sure that we're going into this work with a sense of dignity, a dignity toward ourselves and a dignity toward these beings. Like, these beings aren't here to use, just to kind of prop us up. They're here because they want to support the Great Return. Like, they want to release us from these slimy energies, which we've kind of all to some extent got some of. So I'm not really sure where I'm going with this conversation. This is one of these videos where, like, I had no idea going into it. I just know that there's one of the beings wants to come through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to channel them now. And one of the beings, maybe a dragon, maybe one of the goddesses I'm connected to, is going to come through. And maybe they'll speak on this topic. Maybe they'll just speak on something completely different. I have no idea. But let's see where we go. Yanarayon. Yanarayon nakatayon. Kiane narana. Ishtanayok turun. Kanarayon. Ananayon. Kea. Veer, Veer, Veer. So I am Veer. My full name is a little longer than this, but Jack always has trouble pronouncing it. And as of yet, only one person has succeeded in pronouncing it correctly, so I am keeping my name as Veer. Some of you will already know me. For those who don't, I am Veer Red Root Chakra Dragon of the Rising Rose. Crimson Dragon. Crimson, Crimson, Crimson Dragon of the Rising Rose. I am part of the root chakra of the cosmos. I flow out of the root chakra of the cosmos like an artery flowing out of the heart. I travel through many places through time and space. One of those places is this living world. I'm here to support the great return of human consciousness to the cosmic family. For a long time, humanity has been living in a state of ignorance, disconnection, and darkness. But like a seed in the ground, humanity is destined to rise out of this, burst through the soil and touch the light of day again. I am here to support that. As is always the case when Jack channels any being, it is the energy that's important. My words are very small. My energy is much larger. It is the transfer of energy which is the true transfer of knowledge. Knowledge is not a thought in the mind. is knowing embodied. It is the knowledge of spirit made manifest, in this case, in the wisdom of a human being. Jack's energy field is opening and refining more and more over time, which means I can send more and more knowledge through him, more and more energy through him. And then there's more for you to receive. For some of you, you won't feel very much. Maybe a little tingling, maybe in your feet, maybe something just beyond the reach of your mind's imagining. But for some of you, you will be having much stronger energy experiences in response to my transmission. All is well, and each receive their needs in their own time. I could do this whole session in silence, and the transmission would be just as strong, if not stronger. However, for some of you, you need the words, which is completely okay. I am here to be a teacher, and so I adjust my knowledge to the shape of my students. I want to share a little about me. As you can hear from the way that my energies are conveyed through Jack's voice and demeanor and radiance, I am different to the other dragons. We each are unique. And I want to say a tiny bit about myself to give you some context. And this is something that I've already downloaded into Jack's consciousness to some extent, though only quite briefly. And if he's being honest, he is quite reluctant to believe the knowledge that I am sharing with him, which is fine. He sees it as a potential distortion in his ego, like it seems a little too grandiose, which is understandable given his life context. But I do want to inform you all, because it will help you to understand who and what I am and who and what you are. So what I was telling Jack was that at the time of Atlantis, there was a group of mages called the Order Aspiriatus. As I speak about these things, of course, I am bringing through a transmission. It is a remembrance. I am bringing back to the memory of humanity something that has been forgotten. As a result, Jack's body needs to process this higher level of energy that's moving through it, which is why his voice is getting a little stilted. Order Aspiriatus. This was an order of Atlantean mages who were dedicated to observing or regulating the crossroads between dimensions. So you could think of them as gatekeepers who aided the flow of energy between various multidimensional states and the human dimension. So ensuring that the right beings flowed energy to influence the growth and expansion of human consciousness, and making sure some entities did not do so. So they were gatekeepers. Some of them were human, or what you might call human, I would rather call them Atlantean. They're slightly different to modern humans. So Atlanteans, some of these mages were Atlantean, but not all, for the Order Aspiriatus was multidimensional, and in fact is still multidimensional. So there are beings such as myself who are part of the Order Aspiriatus, who aid in this governance between human consciousness and extra-dimensional consciousness. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, Atlantis fell long ago. Mistakes were made. From one context. From a grander context, no mistake was made. Atlantis was supposed to fall. But some of you will have the seeds of remembrance of this time within your psyches. And so I'm here to water those seeds and enable you to remember a little. Of course, remain grounded in this remembrance. You are still your ordinary self. But perhaps, as I share these words, you might be getting an unexpectedly strong emotional reaction. Your mind may not understand what I'm talking about, yet for some reason you may start crying or feeling sad or any other number of experiences. The body knows. The body is wise. And even if your mind doesn't understand, allow your body to do what your body needs to do. And in time, remembrance will come to you as and when is right for you. Now, one of the reasons why I'm here doing this and bringing this up is because I want to, in a way, bring the Order Aspiriatus back. You see, we have been somewhat dissolved for a long time, and I wish to rekindle the flame of the Order. And there's not really much grand pomp and ceremony that is required to do this. I'm simply speaking it into existence. You see, the Order Aspiriatus can be something quite mundane. It doesn't need to be all robes and altars, because all it is a state of consciousness. So as your minds expand and open, you aid the growth and development of this order. Which is simply a way of governing the inflow and outflow of knowledge to the collective human mind. I can feel Jack in the background criticizing me for being quite dry and serious and over the top, and I remind him that he has these qualities. And he and I are not that dissimilar. But he can feel my presence, and I'm here really, aside from this sharing of knowledge, it's I'm following on the theme of the recent channelings that we've been doing, both publicly on this YouTube channel and in the Dragon Medicine groups, where a common theme arising is protection. Now, I've been talking about the fall of Atlantis and interdimensional orders of mages and all this grandiosity, right? These things that seem quite big and over the top and fanciful, at least to Jack's mind. Yet, of course, these things are quite ordinary given their context. If you understand the multidimensionality of reality, then it makes total sense that you would have beings who are aware of that multidimensionality and able to flow energy powerfully through it, who would act as gatekeepers. It just makes total sense. It doesn't have to be something big and grandiose. Yet I am aware that even me talking about this might feel a little kind of intimidating. And that's why I'm bringing through my protective energies. You see, I am a deity of the root chakra, which means that safety is a very important dimension of who and what I am. Helping you to remember your own protection and strength through energetic transfer to you is one of the things that I can do to support you. So what I'd like to do for the next few moments is to enter into meditation with you and allow my energies to rise up out of the earth, out from the deep, deep, deep ground, and form a protective shield around your root, around your roots, and around your root chakra itself. This is something that I offer to you. And that you are free to take or leave. So now I will close my eyes and bring forward the protective runes of my order for you to receive if you wish to. So what I'm doing here is a very mild introduction to the consciousness of the dragons of the rising rose. As some of you know, if you know a little bit about Jack's story, we came to him so that we could initiate him into our consciousness to form a relationship between ourselves and him, partly for his own benefit. Like, we really mean that and really want to say that because we love him dearly, and we are linked in our souls. Yet, as to be truthful, our goal was always much larger than Jack. And the purpose of initiating him was to initiate others through him. And why are we doing that? Well, it's partly for the benefit of all of the people involved. Each of you get to have your consciousness expanded and go through the ups and downs of that unification and start experiencing these wonderful things that you've never experienced before, or maybe to expand things that you have experienced. But we have quite grand designs, because our goal is none other than the Great Return, which is something that is almost incomprehensible to you all at the moment. But it is a reunification of human consciousness with the cosmic family. Now that is easily said, but the reality of that is quite exceptional and will be wonderful for you all to experience, yet there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And that work is all based in the expansion of human consciousness, expansion of Jack's consciousness, the expansion of your consciousness, and all of that rippling out through the human collective to allow humanity to break free from the bonds that it is currently held within, so that it can break out of the clouds of misery that you see enacted around you all the time. So it is my wish and the wish of the other dragons that we bring more of you into dragon medicine, so that you can go through these transformations. And the next opportunity to do so will be when Dragon Medicine Group 2 moves from the lower chakras to the middle chakras. So they will be moving into the Heart Dragon, the Throat Dragon, and the Third-Eye Dragon. And they'll be doing that around the middle of October. I'll have Jack double check the exact date and put that in the description below. And I want you to be aware of when that is, so you can feel into it and decide whether that's something that you would like to be a part of. Because we really want to bring as many people as we can into that. And there's options, there's scholarship options that are available, and you can ask Jack about that. You can send him an email. He'll put his email below as well. So thank you all so much for being here and going through this evolution of consciousness together. I wish you all well, and I hope that you can receive the protection that is always available to you. So you do not have to live in fear. You can live in the safety and nourishment of this great, great living cosmos. Thank you, and talk soon.